stood out in any fashion? Yes.
I did.
Okay. All right. So it stood out to you, so you have to
Okay.
share.
All right. Let's see, what did I pull out of it? I texted you about it, so I'm trying to remember what I texted you.
Good. So this stood out to you.
Yes, it
That's
really
good.
did. Sometimes it's your subconscious stick. What did I say? A lot of it was, again, the upside down kingdom of God, right? And then through his first sign, miracle, wonder, of turning water to wine. And that gave me two versions of God. It showed his grace, and then it also showed how he, again, likes to do things backwards, because he brought the good wine towards the end of the ceremony. So, like I said, I took that and really built off that with the upside down kingdom, or the way he does things that seem to be backwards compared to what the world does. So it just sat with me that we're often trying to find God through the world, or through explanations or through means we're used to figuring things out, or understanding, or learning things. And in order to get close to God, you really need to do the opposite of what your mind is telling you to do, and what you feel you need to do, or what you feel your flesh is telling you to do, I guess would be a good way to put that.
Okay. Cool. All right. Someone else? Yes.
But once the God test us, my wife and I kind of let that one out a little bit. So we're trying to sell our house and start the whole process, buying a new house, bigger house.
I know a house that's for sale.
Nice one. Got a pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, looking for a big one.
And a garage door that works. So.
Anyway, so we initially wanted a house in Mesa that we really liked, and we called Frank and saw a house. We had to get everything started, and turned out the house we really wanted went under contract, so we couldn't get it. So Melissa kind of started freaking out, like, we're never going to find a house, yada, yada, yada. She's prayed about it, keep our head cool, and then, she started going off on a tangent, maybe we should move to, like, Texas or something. So you get so much house for a lot cheaper. I was like, no, let's just stay the course. And she started creeping in my head, like the whole Adam and Eve thing. She was trying to creep about, those thoughts. And then after a few weeks, talking to Frank, and the house came back on the market. So we ended up putting an offer in. They accepted our contingency, and now we're in the process of getting it. So
That's awesome.
but as I was reading those, devotionals on the testing, it's really easy to read them. And be like, oh yeah, if he feels ever to test me, I could just, I'll handle it. But then when you actually get thrown in the fray, it's like, well, wait a minute, you kind of want to say it's different for me, but it's not really different. Like God doesn't understand it, he really does. So it's a lot different, reading it. Nodding your head with it, and then you can actually put it to the fire a little bit, and you kind of take it back.
Good stuff. And congratulations.
Still trying to sell our house, still trying to sell our house. And
I understand.
And
Ours goes around on the market Friday.
and it's all said and done now.
Yeah.
Until later.
I know.
Plus that house is always clean. People are looking at it, always have to keep.
I know. All right.
Actually, in a similar vein,
Hey.
I'm reading a thing on Judges,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just now getting to the story of Gideon. And, well, the thing it said was that, like, Gideon didn't, even though Gideon had some faith, he essentially didn't have faith that he could lead an army. So he essentially tested God with the fleece.
Right.
And which is, I've never heard before, but just currently there's a phrase putting out the fleece, which is, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to follow you, God, until you do this, so I know it's actually you, which is not a good thing to do.
What's the phrase?
Putting out the fleece. Yeah.
Fleece. F-L-E-E-C. Yeah. The Gideon story, just real quick, Gideon's like, I don't know that I believe all this, so God, if I put this out there, and in the morning, if the fleece is wet, because of the dew, and the ground is dry, then I'll follow you, I know it's really you. And then, so it was that, and then I think Gideon started having second doubts, and going, well, all the dew probably melted away, and it was just wet. And so he's like, well, let's switch it. So tomorrow, if the fleece is dry, the ground is wet, then I will follow you. And it wasn't, he did. Yeah. Yeah.
Good story.
It's a good story. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, God, all right, I'm trying to make a decision here, and I want to do what's right, and I want to follow you, but I don't even know exactly what that is. And so I've prayed in the past, just hit me over the head, just make it crazy obvious, because I'm trying to do what you want me to. And it's worked for me really well job-wise, because every time I've had to apply for a job, it was the last job standing. All the others said, heck no. And then, the desperate people at the end said, all right, we'll take you. And that's not much, it's not much of an exaggeration there on one of my jobs, for sure. Just a quick funny story. I finished being a youth minister in St. Louis, applied at a whole bunch of places for 4 months and couldn't find anything. And finally this church in Ohio says, okay, yeah, well, come on out for an interview. And so we did. Pam and I went out, and on Saturday night we go to this restaurant, and it's got a side room on it. It's got a round table that seats 14 people. So all the elders, all their wives were there, Pam and I were there, and the waitress comes in and goes, oh, you guys were here last night. They've been in the same room in the same place with the candidate the night before.
Oh, man.
And they're ready to tell him yes. But then at the last second, this doctrinal issue came up, and it was either yes or no on that. And he said no, and so they're like, well, now what do we do? Well, we got this other guy in town, we might as well interview him. That was me. And so, yeah, that's how I got my job in Ohio. I was the last guy standing, so. All right, devotion, serving. Did we serve? Excellent.
You serve every day.
Serve Sunday.
Serve Sunday?
Yeah,
In what capacity?
I pulled all those out of the black, and they've been helping trying around here after service.
Okay,
Pick up cups and stuff like
nice. Okay.
that. I cleaned a friend's pool.
I cleaned a friend's pool in the name of Jesus.
Name of Jesus.
Oh, look at you. Cool. How did you get hooked up with cleaning your friend's pool, and why weren't they doing it?
I was over in the house, and it was like, Monday, so it was right after a rainstorm, so it was super dirty, and I was just there, and I'm like, I'm gonna clean the pool. He's like, why? I said, because I love Jesus. Clean up the pool.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, very cool. Yes.
I carried my pastor to get his card. Does that count?
You actually carried him?
I did on my
Like on your
back.
back?
Yeah.
Man.
He's
impressive.
heavy too.
His
He gave me
feet
a
would drag on
ride.
the
It took
ground.
him 5 minutes.
But it was the pastor
Was it
from the
me?
church.
Did you say I was doing this?
I did it in the name of Jesus, okay?
Like,
Too late now.
Did you Once you get in here, it doesn't count. So, no, keep trying.
Charging them for the gas, don't count.
Yeah, charge you for gas.
What about for the counseling I had to listen to? Did that work?
Okay, then yes, you're good. You're good.
It doesn't count if you do it after you help the people either. That was in the name of Jesus.
You come back 3 days later.
Say it to them, actually.
I sent it to somebody, I remember. Serving, what else, what's the next thing? Scripture memorization. All right, here we go, baby.
2 Corinthians 10, 4 and 5.
Mhm.
The weapons that we fight with are not the weapons of this world. On the contrary, they have the divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets us up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought that is obedient in Christ. Nice job. That was a hard one, man.
'Cause you only did half of that last week.
I had it all today.
The whole
I
thing.
just kept working it, so.
Nice.
Pretty God.
Very
You got it
good.
earlier.
Good
Get it
stuff.
better earlier. When people aren't listening, it's a lot easier.
Right.
The whole station. Anyone else get new, added to their scripture memorization?
Check that out.
Check it out. All right, anyone have stories to turn in? I got one earlier tonight.
Oh, sorry, clarification on that. I didn't hear what that was about, that part.
So there's 3 stories you have to turn in. The first one is, what was your life like before Christ? Why did you choose to follow him? And what's your life like now? The second one is, what have you learned in this group this year? And the third is going to be, what are you going to do with what you learned?
Nice.
So those 3 things, they can either be video, you can write it out, type it up, whatever, but you need to do it in some way where and it can be anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 minutes.
Nice.
The first one, we want to be 1 page long at the most, because the first one, the goal is that you know your story well enough about how God has brought you into him, that you can tell it to someone very quickly.
We can't just
No
say
one.
it. Say it
You can.
in front of everybody or whatever, it's not gonna test them.
In front of the camera?
We might.
We'll make it a video.
But you videoed one, what do you?
Because it's too long, I gotta shorten it up, but there's too much good stuff in there. I didn't know that.
Because you're talking. So, I mean, it's obviously good. Sharing your faith. That's the one I missed. Sharing your faith.
You call it story. Oh, no, that's kind of.
We did serving, but sharing your faith. Because one can lead to the other, and a lot of times can't. Sure. Good. That's good stuff, guys. Glad we're here tonight.
I said the same thing, I mean, I share my faith at work, I mean, we got a bunch of new guys in on Monday, and some of them are struggling, you know. I bring up our church, find out where they live, if they live close. But I basically tell people too, man, you know what, don't go searching very far for a church, find one that's in your own backyard. It's a God-teaching church, a Jesus-teaching church, Bible-teaching church. Then you don't have to worry about how long it's going to take you to get there. You can be really close. You can be in a community where other people live that probably go to that church.
Right.
But yeah,
I have one right down the street from me over there on. No,
Why don't you ever go there?
I can't find it. You know, they got like 16 A-frame signs out there, and it's hard to find it. It's like,
The one that's at the school?
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I go right by it. Still, I don't see any cars out there.
They probably can't find it at 4 locations
Right.
last
I mean,
year.
they got them signs everywhere though.
I don't need all of
Thanks,
these.
sir.
Yeah, you do.
I
take
do
one.
it. Why do I need all of these?
Because you have a lot to fill out. Because you need the most help.
Well, we know that. That's a given. What does integrity mean?
They don't want me there.
All right, so if you know the story of Job in the Old Testament, Job was probably written probably around the same time that Genesis was written, so probably one of the oldest books. Job was a wealthy guy, got a big family, got a good business, and it's just kind of a weird little thing. God is up in heaven. It's like he's having a staff meeting with the angels. It's kind of how I picture it. Because the angels are gathered there, and Satan shows up in the meeting. And I'm like, I don't know how this happens, just telling you what it says. And God says, Satan, what you doing? And Satan's like been going through the earth, and God says, did you notice Job? And Satan's like, yeah, I noticed. Yeah, he's faithful to you because you've blessed him so much. You've given him all this stuff. Of course he's going to be faithful to you. And God says, that's not why he's faithful. You know, I tell you what, you can do whatever you want to the guy, just don't touch him physically. And so there's a whole bunch of theology behind that I just, whatever. The important stuff is this. So Satan goes and kills all his kids and destroys his business and gets rid of all his flocks. So he's got nothing. And Satan goes back to God And God said, hey, how about Job staying faithful to me? And so he says, well, yeah, you wouldn't let me touch him. God says, well, you can't kill him. And so goes back, and Job now gets sick, and he's got these boils. I mean, just a nasty skin disease. They say the boils, just even touching them causes extreme pain. And so he's covered with these, and he's just sitting out there. And just sitting there, and he's so bad that his friends come to visit him because they've heard about how awful this situation is. And he's just sitting there, and they just sit there for a week. I mean, I know they're guys, and so they don't know what to say, but they're sitting there for a week before a word comes out of their mouth. And then they're not very helpful at all. But in Job 2:3, here's what God says about Job. He says, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He's blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And he still maintains his integrity, even though you've incited me to do these things against him. He still maintains his integrity. And it's interesting because even at one point, Job's wife talks to him, and she's not really helpful in the situation. She's like, are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. You know? It's awful what you're dealing with. I mean, and think about that. I mean, you lose all your kids, you lose your business, you lose all of your wealth, and now you've got this crazy sickness. And
Didn't people even turn on him because they thought he must have done something to deserve that?
Yeah, and that comes a little bit later in the
Oh,
book.
sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, and it comes later in the book. But yeah, his friends are like, dude, just confess to God. You know, confess to God. Tell him what you did wrong, and we'll get things straightened out. And Job's like, I didn't do anything for all this. You know, I didn't. Yeah, his friends are trying to help him, which is why a couple of weeks ago I told you guys, if you're someone dies and stuff, you don't know what to say, then don't. Okay, because you don't want to end up like one of Job's friends. Yeah, because their words are recorded forever for everybody. And so, as I'm going through this, just going through, man, his integrity. You know, God points out he maintains his integrity. I mean, even his wife knows this. I mean, she was going through the same process. She lost everything too. She's like, why don't you just curse God so he'll just zap you and die, and you can be over with all this. And so, just in thinking through that, just some questions for you guys I want to talk about for a little bit. When you hear the word integrity, what does that word mean? What do you think the word integrity means?
Being righteous as you can.
Okay.
God's eyes on
That's like me.
it.
I like being a man of the word.
Being a man of your word.
That's it.
I think the best summary I've heard of it is doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Okay.
Basically the highest standard you can live by.
Your integrity is like what people think of you or something.
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
a legacy kind of thing that you leave what you're into.
A man whose word is his bond in time and integrity.
Okay.
the way you carry yourself. Noble fashion.
Okay. Any of you guys take math back in high school? You know what an integer is? Jacob, what's an integer?
Let's see here. It's just like a number. Oh, geez. Like a whole number, an integer would be like something where it's like it's not 0, but it's negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then positive numbers too.
No decimal, no.
No decimals.
It's a whole number.
It's a whole number. A whole. So you get the idea of whole, like number 1 is a whole number. It's there. And so when you're looking at the idea of integrity, that idea of being whole, it means, and different guys touched on it, it's just being the same. You know? Here I'm in a Bible study church, and I'm acting one way. And then when I go home, am I whole? Am I the same there as I am here? When I go to work, am I the same there as I am here? So it's that idea of whole, and so integrity, that's kind of where it comes from. That idea of just being whole, being the same, no matter where you are.
So if I just say that I act goofy no matter where I'm at, that's a good thing. I have to say.
Because then you're not being false. Being goofy is one thing. That's pretty easy to do. Because that's just part of who you are. Sure. But the question is about your Christianity.
Right.
Is your Christianity the same here as it is tomorrow when you show up at work? Because right here,
I
right
don't know
now.
anything here, just like I don't know anything.
So in that sense, what do you think it means to be a man of integrity from a Christian perspective? Here, work, home, and when you're by yourself.
It's a set of beliefs. So if you have a set of beliefs here, you have the set of beliefs outside of the church, and it needs to be like obvious that you have that set of beliefs. If you would say something one way at church and not in your workplace, then you're probably not of much integrity.
Okay?
I like what Bryson said, even when people aren't watching, you still do the right thing.
Who you are when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Being consistent with being obedient. Right.
Writing out the 10 Commandments to the best of your ability.
Okay? Okay? So what are the areas in your life that are a challenge for you to be a man of integrity?
People
Dealing with other people.
in parking spaces.
Oh, hold on. Deal with people in handicapped parking spaces. Is it hard for you to be a Christian when you see that happen?
I get nasty.
Yeah?
I see a person that don't have a tag, is just going in the store for a second. You know, I just really, I lose my temper.
Okay.
I lost my temper with a lady in 6-inch heels who forgot to put her tag up. I called the cops, and then she saw me in the store, and I told her I called the cops, and she had a tag, and she ran 500 feet out to her car to put the tag on, and then she came back to tell me what kind of asshole I am. And she ran up to customer service, and then she came back to me a third time. At that time, I just lost it. And I was like, lady, I'm gonna punch you, I'm gonna call the cops, and you get out of my face.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So the question is, are you living out a Christ-like life then in here and over there?
That's what you always gotta ask, what would Jesus do in that situation?
What would Jesus do in that
If you're thinking about it
He
that
wouldn't have went and
way,
yelled at the lady, right? Jesus wouldn't have went in and called the cops on her, really.
Who would turn her?
You think he would?
He's stoned.
Oh, he turned his...
All
I thought he
right.
had grace. I mean, I thought Jesus did everything for
All
everybody.
right. All right.
something to work.
What other situations? Just like dealing with people? What does that mean?
Well, I had a situation at my other job where this guy just, I mean, I tried to be Christian, tried to be nice, tried everything I could to get him to understand my point of view. Okay? And then I got in trouble from the boss because I went to his level. Why are you being so mean? I've been trying to be nice for weeks and get him to understand something. And he doesn't want to understand it, so let's go down to his level to get him to understand this is what you have to do.
Okay.
So no, I wasn't acting Christian at all, but I tried. I mean, you can only try so much before you,
What were the circumstances? What was he doing that you said, you know what,
I don't remember what, I mean, he's just antagonistic,
okay?
okay?
And so you sunk to his level.
I sunk to his level
Okay.
because I couldn't get him to understand, leave me alone,
Okay.
And I even went to the boss with it. And he's like, well, he's trying to get you goat. And I'm like, he's working on it. Got it, okay?
Okay.
It's sometimes it's hard to be a Christian to get,
It is hard to be a Christian.
Anytime you're not in the
Absolutely.
church, it's hard being a Christian, I think.
Yes,
That's my-
especially-
Hey, trust me, sometimes when you're in church, it's hard to be a Christian.
I mean,
You're on the
today's
road
society
24/7.
is just, it's hard.
Okay. Do you think it's harder now than it was in the time of Jesus?
I say so,
Because?
I mean, I'm not getting killed over it, so
because
that's
it
Not yet.
includes, the attitude of, thinking, people think they deserve something,
Mhm.
you know, and nobody deserves something. You gotta work for it.
Okay.
You know, and people get it easily, barely, any way they can.
Okay. Well, in the time of Jesus, Jesus lived in the nation of Israel, and there was another country that had taken them over, and they had soldiers that would live in their town, and they could just come up to just you and say, hey, I'm tired of carrying my backpack. I need you to carry this for me for the next couple of miles. And you had to do it or they'd throw you in jail. There were the beatings, the crucifixions that they would do. And then as the church started, they started persecuting. If you're a follower of Christ, then you are going to be put in jail or you're going to be put to death. And so they said, some of the torture that happened to people was pretty nasty. Either give up your faith or we're going to do these things to you.
Taxes.
Yeah, paying taxes. Yeah, what would you guys like if, we all of a sudden had to start paying taxes to France? Another 25% on whatever you're doing right now.
And the 25% rate, because I'm collecting it.
Exactly.
No, I only 30 today.
Chris?
I was just gonna say, I thought it'd be harder then to be a Christian because they kill you and, do the bad stuff you were saying, crucifixion, but, people are dying now for being Christians too, so
Okay.
it's still.
But most of us don't have to worry about that, and that's
No.
true. And so we just have to worry about the jerk that we work with. And
That's me.
just played, I am that guy. So the question is, I guess it becomes to be a man of integrity. How, because it is hard. I'm not saying it's not. I've worked in church for a long time, yes. I worked in a grocery store with a dude who went out of his way to antagonize me. Literally went out of his way. One time, they would do, I was the youngest guy there, so they would do stuff all the time. But one time we're just sitting there and we're doing something and we're cutting boxes open and he just takes his razor blade and he goes, shoot, and just slices my wrist right there. And I'm like, dude, I had to go to the hospital with stitches. I talked to the boss, he's like, whatever. I showed my parents.
I had to beat him down.
My parents didn't do anything. Well, I was bleeding, so and I just had never experienced that before. And so, what do you do when someone like that? And so I know what it's like to work with jerks. And he and I got as close to just having a fight in that sense that I've been. But what do you do with that from a Christian perspective? Because we're older now. Hopefully we're more mature in Christ. And so how do you, should we be sinking to their level?
No, you're not supposed to.
Not supposed to. And yes, we can be forgiven all that stuff, but
Even though they say, forgive 7 times 70 and all that, but when do you call a stopping point?
well,
When is enough enough?
well, I don't think that you have to just sit there and take it, but sinking to their level, I don't think is a great reaction either.
No, sure wasn't.
It's difficult because the police feel handicap parking is not important and they have other things to worry about.
Mhm.
So it's put very low on the priority list. You know, and I
Okay.
see,
Okay, this is a group of men, so I'm coming back at you with stuff, okay? And I'm trying to, so I'm using your words. Do you think you deserve that spot?
I don't deserve this, I'll take 2 spaces.
Huh?
I'll take 2 spaces.
You'll take 2 spaces.
I don't care, I'll park it at the end of the,
Then why did you get so mad?
because people just don't care.
But that's what you just said, you don't care.
Now, how is it any more right taking 2 spaces? You denied somebody else a parking space because you took 2.
Well, what can I
Okay,
do?
just like that person denied you your handicap space because they wasn't handicapped.
You can forgive them.
What can I do? A person puts a shopping cart.
You pray for 'em.
Handicap space, I can't use it.
Mm-hmm,
I gotta find it.
right.
I've seen you go from one end of the parking lot and roll all the way to the other end, no problem.
Your hands all just hit it.
You're not as bad off as some of those guys.
Well, I'm not trying to gang up on you, Victor. What I'm trying to say is, here's the deal. Here's what it comes down to is, people are not gonna treat us right. That's a part of our life. Whether it's a boss or a coworker or a stranger, people aren't gonna treat us right. And at some point, you gotta say, I don't care. I've got to do what's right. I've got to do what's right. And they may be a thorn in my flesh for a really long time, and I don't think that you have to take physical abuse from anyone. I think that it's okay to defend yourself. I think I made that very clear. But at one point you say, you know what? I don't care what the other person does. They're being petty, they're being immature, they're being whatever. And I'm like, you know what? If this is who this person is, I don't care what they think about
As
me.
a person.
I don't care what they think. I don't care what they do because you know what?
Yeah, that's where you gotta get to at that point there.
As a person
You
in
don't
a
share.
chair,
Yeah.
I have no problem on telling a person he's immature, thoughtless, and, you know, he doesn't care about other people. You know, I have no problem with telling him.
Yeah, but they probably already know that.
Well, here's my thing. If I tell you you're acting immature, okay. So,
I take that as a compliment.
I mean, if I take your spot, if I take your handicap spot, and you come up to me and you confront me and say you're acting immature and you don't understand, I'm like, okay, still gonna do it tomorrow. Still gonna do it the next day.
Well,
I mean, you can confront me all day, but it's not gonna change my behavior.
hopefully, if you explain to him the purpose of a wide space is to take the chair out.
Then it depends on your attitude. If you come at me and you attack me, I'm not gonna listen to you. But if you come up to me and say, hey, you know what? I noticed you got that space out there. It makes it hard for me. And so, can you just think about that next time? There's a lot greater chance I'm gonna listen to that
Yeah.
than you calling the cops on me and telling me what a jerk I am.
Oh,
I mean,
It pays to be nice.
Yeah, I mean,
And there's a 50-50 chance they're still gonna tell you to go somewhere.
they will. Okay, but that's on them.
Yeah, that's on them.
That's on them. And so the question is, how do you get from, because I get upset too, okay? You know, when someone cuts me off, my first reaction is not, oh, well, God bless you.
That's not hard as a driver.
That's not the first thought that goes through my head,
Right.
you know? If we get, you know,
Especially if we're in a hurry to get somewhere, and they wanna get there before us, you know, it's hard.
Oh, it's easy
But-
to
but,
put that Scottsdale sticker on the back of the truck.
Not always.
it doesn't change my driving habits very much,
They
unfortunately.
can't see that
Um,
sticker.
I may feel guilty about it
But,
later.
you know, people on the highway, it's a whole different thing with people that you have to deal with on a regular basis. And people that you have to deal with on a daily basis, the question is, we know what our standards should be, and we know how we act at times. And the question is, how do you make that transition? How do you make that transition from one to the other?
So since I've been following Christ, trying to live out my faith, I don't know how I got this, but I got it. I got a delay in my head all the time now. So when I want to get mad or react a certain way, I always have this. Are you sure you want to do it? What would Jesus really think of this? every time, at least 90% of the time.
That's crazy.
So if I want to flip somebody off or cuss them out, I always have that. And I get mad because I can't.
Isn't that called a filter?
Yeah, it's like I have a filter now that I can't, go at somebody. I get like, it's like an automatic kind of, are you sure you want to do it? And most of the time I don't.
I am
So
a
it's-
Japanese man.
And
That's-
so,
That's part of growing as a Christian, right?
Right, so I.
is that something that happened right away, or is it something that develops over time?
Over time.
Okay,
So,
why? Why did it start to happen?
I used to have, I was never really angry person, but I would instinctively, just if something bad happened to me, I would just immediately,
Okay,
just the first thing that I wanted to do, I would do it. Now, if, I would pray, just help me, kind of calm me down, and just help me be a little more patient. Right?
Mhm.
So it wasn't easy, but now it's just like a filter. Now it's like, if someone cuts me off in traffic, I'm just like, and then I don't do anything.
so it changed because of a process. You went through a
Right.
process. It's funny because I was talking to some guys earlier, and they were saying this whole serving in the name of Jesus. And they're saying, they served in some capacity this week, and then they left, and they're like, oh crap, I didn't say the name of Jesus, And it's like, and to me, but that's a huge victory. Because in the past, you would have done something, but you wouldn't have even thought about it. And to me, the next step is to at least think about it. And to the place where it does come out your mouth. I mean, my wife said when we were first married, or when we first started dating and got married, I was the minister at the church. She didn't have a lot of filters, and she would tell you this. And so any thoughts that came out, there was nothing to stop it. And she said that she went through that whole process of she would say something and then instantly regret it. And then she would be able to back it up and not say it. And then, she said her tongue was just red because she had to bite it so much, But I think that that's good, that we get to the place where we say or do something, we regret it. The next time, we do it still, but we regret it a lot quicker. And the next time we stop once, and it's like, oh, cool. And then we just keep backing up further to the point, I hope that there comes a place where we go, you know what, that's just people being people, and it doesn't tick me off anymore. When I get on the highway, I know that there's bad drivers. Okay? The thing that ticks me off in stores is if this is the aisle of the store, the people that shop right here.
I want to
And-
change all the signs.
I know. And so, but at some point,
I want to change the signs. I want to put fast lane is the left lane. Because
that's what people do anyway.
Or in the left lane anyway.
Yeah.
I pass my on the right.
But at some point, I think the beginning stages are just saying, okay, I'm going to deal with this the right way. But I think it continues from there to a place where you look at someone that does something like that and realize that people act the way that they do for a reason. And I'll tell you what, man, right now, there's some stories that I've just heard recently that it destroys my heart. Because I know a situation that this person's in. And it's nasty, it's awful, it's a bad situation, and they can't escape it. It's not a good place to be. But when you realize that people act the way they do a lot of times for a reason, because of stuff that's happened to them in their past and the way that they were raised, the way that they were brought up, the things that they dealt with, then it gives me a little bit more sympathy for them. Still don't like it, but at least I start to understand where they're coming from and why they do that. And then I think you get to that place where you start to say, you know what? I know you're doing everything you can right now to tick me off, but I'm just not going to go there. I'm just not going to go there.
I took it too far.
Yeah.
Me being like the people person I am, I like every kind of person, all types of people, but you gotta remember, first of all, none of us, as it says in the Bible, none of us are righteous, none of us deserve any of this. But us being Christians and being in the spot we're at, there's a lot of disgruntled people out there. And like Brian was saying, you don't know what that person's been going through with their life. You know what? I think it's our job and it's our duty. If you want to take it on, I would do it. Is maybe they need somebody to talk to, somebody that could maybe lighten their day up, maybe put a smile on their face. They didn't talk to them about the Lord. I don't know. But I know that it is right. Everybody in this world, there's something wrong with all of us. Okay? We're all somewhere dysfunctional, somewhere. But some people have gotten to the point to where they think there's no hope. We, obviously, if we want our Christianity to shine and show that we love people, and that's what God's one of the most important thing is to love one another. He doesn't care about anything else but to love one another and love Him. But that's what we need to do. But we don't, and you know what? I fall short on a lot of stuff as far as getting involved with anything. I'm sometimes maybe not the best person for the Lord sometimes, because instead of me getting involved, sometimes I turn my back on it because I don't want to deal with it. That's something that I deal with sometimes. And I'll just forget about it and let somebody else deal with it. But I got to work on that. But I know if I love people, which I do, then it's my duty and my job to somehow comfort somebody or let them know in a gentle way if there's something that, you know, that I don't agree with, or something that I have a problem with them. But yeah, what you did was a little bit far and above what you probably should have did, but you might be a little disgruntled too. I mean, you know, we all are. So it's one of those things where we need to, you're in this church, and you've been coming to this church for a long time, and you know what God expects. We know, so it's hard. I'll tell you, it is hard. I'm going through some tough times right now with my job. But I know in my heart, God's got me there for a reason, and God has me here for a reason. So I just go with that and try to put more of it in His lap and give Him the burden, because that's what He says it's going to take. And just try to treat people like He would treat them, that's all.
You know, one of the key things you said was what's in your heart, because that's when you get angry, I think, in my opinion, that's what comes out of you, it's what's in your heart. If you've got evil and stress and meanness and all that, that's the first thing that comes out. And this is what I heard in one of your sermons a long time ago. If you swear on a daily basis and that's what jumps out of you, that's what you have inside. When you mature as a Christian, it's just like maturing as a child. You know, as a child you say all kinds of stupid stuff and you learn not to say those things. Same with growing up as a Christian.
Right.
You start to learn, you know, different ways of dealing with stuff. But anyways, it's what's in your heart. That's why.
Well, the Bible says, out of the overflow of your heart, your mouth speaks.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
okay.
And it's interesting, just, you started all this.
Nothing's done.
The interesting thing is, I've got a problem with people, you know? And it's really not. Your problem may manifest itself with other people, but there's something inside, because circumstances are always going to change and people are always going to change. And the problem isn't with people, it's in the way that we react to what people do. And I agree, people don't do the right thing, but we know that that's a fact of human life. And we can't control the way people treat us, but we can control how we respond. And it's crazy hard sometimes, but we can control how we respond, because we have, if you're a follower of Jesus Christ, you have the Holy Spirit living in you. And the Holy Spirit living in you gives you power to do whatever. He's got all the self-control in the world that you want. Now, you've got to want it. You've got to want the self-control, because at some point, when someone does something to you, your desire is not, well, how can I act like Christ in this situation? Your desire is, how can I get even in this situation? And that's what you're saying, Chris, is the heart thing. And if my desire is just to show them that I'm right, and to show them they're wrong, and to prove them, you know, all this stuff, well, that's what's going to come out. If your desire, like David said, is to love them, to love people, if that's the desire of your heart, it may not come out perfect every time, but that attitude will start to come out. So being a person of integrity, I said, what are the challenges that you face living a life of integrity? Dealing with people, okay, so that's one. Are there other areas in your life that make it challenging to live a life of integrity, other than dealing with people?
So, it is kind of dealing with people, but it's in a very specific
Okay.
way. So, I was watching a video earlier about just some different topics on dating, things like that, and this probably won't be relevant for some of you guys, but some of the single guys need it anyway. This is something that I've dealt with, and it's not necessarily bad, but I love how the guy framed it, basically, and it is that since we're single and our holiness and our purity should be extremely important to all of us, and like I said, I think you guys will be able to pull some other stuff from this as well, so hang in there with me. So he was talking about how they're artists, so they're on tour, they're playing music shows, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, or you've seen the rock star lifestyle, right? So a lot of that is assumed, and he was talking about how it's difficult for him on a day-to-day basis. Not that he's even sinning, it's just like talking to this girl that's his friend, talking about she's beautiful, or I miss you, or things like that, and God's just saying that that's not necessarily healthy to just do with someone, just to continuously do that. And I think in our culture, in our society, everything I've ever seen about dating, it's like date a lot, date as much as you can, do as much as you can, get out there, and without even getting into like sex or any commitment or anything like that, it's just talking about keeping that, and it's a big part of integrity too, because when he was speaking, you could tell the guy just had massive integrity to be holding him to that standard. So like I said, it's not necessarily a sin, so that's something that is hard to deal with as a Christian, is things that aren't necessarily a sin, that could become sinful, right? So I think there are only a few like actual things that are like a sin, like this is just plain out wrong, and then everything from there is on an individual basis and how you feel about it. But I think one of the biggest things I struggle with is that kind of thing, is bringing myself in and being able to have that integrity, control myself, because I do enjoy, and not even just with them, but just like I joke, I mess around, I play games, like it's just whatever, can we get attention, can we do that? And oh geez, my generation women do that more than anything I've ever met in my life. Like they'll have 14 guys they talk to on a day-to-day basis just to talk to them, like nothing else, and to lead it on. So I think that's really strong. Like I said, I saw it apply in other areas of my life, but that was a big one. It's just, when you become a Christian, we talked about this with alcohol and things. So is alcohol wrong? Not necessarily, but as you grow as a Christian, like you said, those things should be way less important to you, or not even a factor anymore. So it's irrelevant to talk about whether it's a sin or whether it's not, because it's likely not necessarily, but the way you use it could be, again with this. But as you grow and as you mature, it's that stuff should become so less irrelevant. If you're really chasing God, all of that should really be out here, like your blinders on. You know what I mean? Like it just shouldn't even be a thing. And that's what this guy was basically
Right.
talking about.
And the Apostle Paul said that, just because something is permissible for me to do, doesn't mean it's necessarily beneficial.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's helpful. And there are things that we can do as Christians that may not cross the line, but it's also not, it's taking us right up to the line.
Yeah.
Or getting us there soon and simple. Yeah, I mean, I do. I think that people are in the dating, and I think there's 6 single guys in here, so you're not up by yourself.
I did see that. I didn't know who, what, where,
So
but I
almost
figured.
half.
Oh, cool. Well, I was thinking of the right crowd.
And so,
Oh my God. Like I said, apply it somewhere else in your life. It had a lot of meaning.
but I think the dating scene in our country today is just crazy.
That's a whole nother topic almost.
It is.
I loved his integrity
Plus-
behind what he said.
Right,
It was
but the
insane.
purity in that,
Yeah.
and no one's teaching that, no one's pushing that,
No. Yeah, and that,
and especially as the guy.
and it wasn't even like a socially awkward, unattractive dude. He was like very popular. Like you could tell he was like someone you'd want to hang out with. So I'm sure he has a really hard time with it. Honestly, he's semi-famous basically. So
And then it comes back to then what is his goal in dating, And I think that's probably part of what he's doing. What's your goal in dating is to see how many girls that you can get to chase after you, so you can just play with them and their emotions, That's what guys do. Is just say, I'll say I love you because I know that means something. You'll be able to get it and do whatever I want.
yeah.
Or is your goal in dating to find a future mate?
It cheapens your stuff too. 'Cause again, I love to compliment people, and that's something that I've always found myself doing, is complimenting, especially when I'm like, oh, I love that dress. I do it at work all the time, and I get all kinds of like random girlfriends, I guess. Not really.
Random girlfriend.
Yeah. She's like, I didn't even know I was dating her, but I was.
But in her mind, you weren't.
No, but seriously, well, not seriously, but yeah, for the most part, that's what I'm saying, is like, you're opening yourself up, and then like, I've had it before, like, I've heard you say that to 4 other people, so it like cheapened my compliment, right? So, or something similar, or like, and I might mean it, I might say like, those shoes are nice, or that dress looks nice, you know, like that kind of thing. And if you say it to so many people, it cheapens it, so you can only imagine continuing to do that, and you meet your wife, and your wife's knowing you and knows that's just how you are, it's not gonna mean as much to them, right? So, that's some more stuff that I'm dealing with.
Okay. Other areas that are challenging to live a life of integrity?
When you're behind closed doors, I think it's easier to hide your stuff.
Good stuff.
Like your stash, or what?
Okay, possibly. No, I just think when it's easy to be a Christian when everybody's watching. As soon as you're out of sight, regardless of where that line is, well, nobody will see me take this drink today, or nobody will see me do this today. So I think it comes into play more when there's nobody watching. That true integrity part does. Because it's easy to get away with stuff, especially in this day and time. You can do
There was
anything.
a time when you could look at a person and take their face of the value and trust that, you know, what they're saying. And these days, you can't. You know, they can lead you on. The women, especially with being disabled, you know, they'll talk to you and be as friendly as can be, but that's where it happens.
Well, I think it's always been hard to find people of integrity. Dealing with contractors recently, it's hard to find people of integrity. But I know that they're there.
Part of contractor is con.
There you go.
Yeah, you call 6.
That's funny, but you are one. So
But-
it's
No,
fine.
no, no. That hurts.
Was it true?
But the guys that you find that do a good job, oh my gosh, I will recommend them to everybody. You know, I'm so grateful for those when you find them, because it is hard. It is hard. Yeah, you keep them, and I want them to succeed. You know, we've got a dude doing our landscaping right now that's just like, dude's a hard worker. And he wants to run his own business instead of working for someone. I'm like, man, you keep working like this and you keep doing this, and I will support you as much as I can. I will give your business cards out because you're doing the right stuff. And I think that integrity, so I think,
That's how they build their business,
Yeah.
when they're doing the right thing, yeah.
right.
Send them over to my house, I got some.
Those are the people we want to see us
I'm looking for
succeed.
somebody.
That's
When
why
I
we
was
should do
doing
it.
side jobs, I always had a job because people liked what I did, they referred me.
Okay. All right.
Larry has something. Well, I saw him raise his hand.
I think integrity, the hardest part of integrity is in your own family. And the reason is, for most men, you have a wife and children, you always put them on a higher pedestal than you do all those around you. For example, you're in a restaurant, table next to you, kid's just bawling his head off, you're just eating your meal and ignoring it. Your kid starts bawling his head off, that's a whole new ballgame.
Ha.
Are you a baller?
Oh, no.
No, I just recommended the plan.
Oh.
Doing a foster care, you have that fine line, you have to teach the kids, and crossing it is going in a restaurant, or going to a store, I want this, I want this, I want this. You know, with me, I drew that line where it doesn't happen. And they know it doesn't happen, and so they don't do it.
Well, being a man of integrity, I think is important, first of all. The harshest words that Jesus had were to people who, he called them hypocrites, he called them actors. He says, you act one way here and you act another way here. As followers of Christ, are we going to be perfect? No. But I think it comes back to the reason I gave that test last year and this year is because you want to see progress, you want to see growth. You know, I think for some of you guys that took it both years, kind of a trend I'm seeing is that on the character disciplines and the character, on those two things, I saw a lot of people going down. And I think because last year, I mean, a big deal about it was the first time we did it, and I think a lot of people exaggerated last year and said, you know, they think, wow, well, who's going to see this and what are they going to think of me? I think more people are honest this year. I think this is a better baseline the second time doing it, and next year it'll be interesting to see where that goes. My thing is this, is that we need to be aware of the integrity and the importance of integrity. For Jesus, it was a huge thing. There's all kinds of scriptures on your papers today that talk about integrity. And it's something that you can do. It happens when you pursue God. And it happens when you say, you know, God, I need you. I need your help. Because the situation I'm dealing with, the person I'm dealing with, whatever I'm dealing with, I need help. I need your self-control. And right now, in the moment, right here, I want to do the right thing. Tomorrow, I'm not going to want to do the right thing. And so, help me. That's a great place to pray. God, help me have the desire to do the things that you want me to do. Just cultivate that desire in me, because once we start to have that desire, it can happen in different ways. But we've got to start there. Job was the guy that did that. And he was the guy, despite some of the worst circumstances ever for anyone, he kept his integrity. And that's what God wants from us as well.
You know, I don't understand, I mean, if you have the Holy Spirit in you, I mean, gosh, I mean, wouldn't you be convicted of doing the things that?
Hopefully.
Well, then
He's
there's
going to try and convict you, but if you keep ignoring him, the Bible says your conscience gets
Yeah,
seared.
But you know in your heart if it's wrong.
You do.
Don't, I mean, seriously, I don't buy that. I buy that if you have the Holy Spirit in you, which I think every one of us do, and I think that if you get to that Y in the road and you know this is not the right and this is right, and you go this way, that would bug me for a long time. I wouldn't want to go that way, and if I did, I would pray that I get back here or talk to somebody.
Well, I'll tell you, when it gets around about.
Well, see, for you, that's why you're in the situation you're in.
I think too, you gotta remember Satan.
No, I'm just saying, I mean,
Well,
For me,
and just
that's-
in that, I've had the why, and I've chosen not. I've specifically chosen, I'm not going to do it.
no, okay, but did you have a justification to God?
No.
Why? Okay,
Yeah,
well, that makes no sense.
I choose wrong.
but
I
in that
choose wrong.
moment,
Okay,
in that moment,
and you feel okay with that?
No, I'm not okay with it.
Okay.
but in that
But
moment,
I,
in that moment, you gotta remember, you got Satan who's playing a part in this,
Right.
which you don't realize sometimes is doing that. Well, this isn't that bad. He did this to you, so it's justified. So you do all this thing in your head where you don't think you're taking the wrong road. And
Well,
that's the thing, is you get that,
not only do you have
Get
Satan
older.
doing that, but you also have your own sinful nature.
Yeah, you got two of you.
yeah,
You know, you've got your own sinful nature.
this is more
And
fun
we like to
than
think
this.
that we're good. We like to think that our actions are justified, but it's our sinful nature that leads us into a lot of that stuff.
And the world and society says a lot of bad things.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
That's normal. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Right. So there's three on one. The world, Satan, and your sinful nature.
And you justify it. Oh,
Right. And the standard now goes from here to here.
Right, I'm not that way.
Maybe as you get older, you.
Pride. Isn't that similar to being prideful?
I mean, as far as
I thought it was a
excitement
liar.
goes nowadays, I'm just,
Well, dude, you're old. I mean, you've already.
I know. And that's, yeah, I'm getting there.
But back in the day,
I mean, me and Larry can talk on the same, us three can talk on the same wavelength.
We know
Mark Rogers.
Yeah, yeah. We know Roger Rogers.
Personally.
personally. All right. Pray for you guys, and we'll be done. God, thank you. Thank you that you love us, even though we're not always perfect, and we don't always live lives of integrity. But God, I pray that you'll work in our hearts and help us have that desire to live that type of life. Help us to see someone like Job and say, you know what, whatever I'm dealing with, it's not as bad as he had to deal with. And God, I just pray that you will help us to chase after you, that your spirit will be evident and will speak loudly in us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Hey, I want to,
Nope, that's over.
Yeah.